of Americanism. We don't see any American dream. We've experienced only the American nightmare. We haven't benefited from America's democracy. We've only suffered from America's hypocrisy. And the generation that's coming up now can see it and are not afraid to say it. 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 And are not afraid to say it.
And are not afraid to say it. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
That's for damn sure.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Black Westchester Presents the People Before Politics radio show every Sunday 6 to 8 on InTheMixRadio.com. I am AJ Woodson along with Damon K. Jones on the microphone.
Yes, yes, yes.
And we have the lovely Lorraine Lopez co-hosting with us.
Hey, hey, hey.
And the place to be, Dr. Robert Baskerville is en route. We have a guest coming, Sister to Sister International. They have a event next week, Black Girls Rock, and they should be here momentarily to tell you about that.
Who's that? Cheryl?
Cheryl,
oh,
yes.
Okay.
She'll be here. I think she might be bringing somebody with her. And then after that, for all of y'all who have been hitting me all weekend,
and me,
Damon, we will be addressing what's going on in Mount Vernon, the latest, the whole situation, in the second hour, probably starting after 6:45, closer to 7. So for those who are tuned in just for that,
just stick around.
Just stick around. We will definitely be addressing that. Damon, any words? Got anything to say? Introduction.
Nah, I'm good, man.
He's just holding.
Yeah. I'm just, you know, we have a lot to talk about in the second hour. You know.
Okay.
Oh, Dr. Bob is in the house.
Dr. Bob.
Dr. Bob is in the house.
You know, you seen him on the radio. True. You know, you seen him on the video.
In the house.
True.
What's up, my brother? What's going on? Yes, sir.
What's up? What's up?
Dr. Bob is in the house.
We got Dr. Bob in the house.
Hey, baby.
And I think, you know, I think black people need to have, people of color in Westchester, you know, we really need to have serious conversations, you know, about where we are and where we want to go, because, you know, it's really not a game out there. And what the hell is that?
Music in the
I can make dance.
I thought you was getting me some beatbox or something, man. I didn't know what was going.
People of color where though? In what areas?
Everywhere. I'm trying to pull this report up. It's on Westchester Black Political Conference. It's a couple of posts that's up there that really, you know, really explains that we got a lot of fight. It says, all right, a couple of things that's up here is how black middle class kids become poor adults.
Wow.
You know,
that's okay.
Wow.
You know, and then 50 years after the Kerner Commission, black Americans are not economically equal.
Well, then Trump said that employment for blacks is like all-time high now.
Absolutely not.
You said employment?
Don't hurt me.
Wait, you said employment?
That's what he said.
Well,
but you know, when
they talk about the 31,000 people that just lost their jobs at Toys R Us.
Toys R Us, right.
And Harley Davidson is going too.
Yeah, and Harley Davidson.
But see, when they talk about these jobs, I think it's very important to note, yes, we added $100,000 jobs, but when they counter at McDonald's, you understand what I'm saying? They're not quality of life jobs that you can afford to feed your family. You know what I'm saying? So yes, they added 100,000 jobs to the economy, but you can't live
Minimum
off those
wage.
salaries. They're barely minimum wage. So you know what I'm saying? It's not, the number sounds good, but you really haven't done nothing for the quality of life for all those people who still need some kind of government or state assistance to get through life.
And don't qualify.
Right.
I would agree.
So that's what it is a number game. You know what I'm saying? Now they're not adding 100,000, 75,000 in better jobs. Now you're saying something. You know at least you're doing something.
But the rate of the growth for jobs for minorities has been going up anyways.
The rate has been going up.
Not the rate, the amount of people getting jobs.
Yeah, but like again, when you're talking about a lot of these jobs like McDonald's and them, first off, they won't hire you full time. They hire
First of
you.
all, McDonald's only hires immigrants now. They took
no.
the jobs from all these little kids, all these
Lord.
teenagers, all these summer jobs. They're all immigrants now.
But I'm not talking about just them. I'm using them as an example. They don't hire you full time, so you're a part time employee. Even if you have some weeks where you work over 40 hours,
because of the health insurance, right?
Yeah, if you work under a certain amount, then they don't have to provide you your health insurance or whatever. You have to pay for it yourself.
Yeah.
Under 35, whatever it is, I think because over 35, I think you're full time. So they keep you under, and then it's a gimmick because if you work 8 weeks in a row, if you work at McDonald's, you work 8 weeks in a row and you do 35 and over, you automatically get switched to full time. They will jack you up if you get that. If you get close, they will stop you. They will. Your next week you'll have 18 hours. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like just so you don't click over into that. So it's when you have, like I said, when you got them jobs like that in Walmart, like I said in Atlanta, those are two of the bigger employers, and 75% of the people that work have food stamps or Section 8 or some kind of government. Even the managers. We're not even talking about just the people that's flipping the fries, flipping burgers and doing the fries. The managers got food stamps. You know what I'm saying? And obviously they're not.
Oh, thank you.
Does that turn it on?
I don't think so.
I heard it though.
It's not the familiar hum
Right.
of cold air.
Yeah, the familiar hum of cold air.
Thank
There
you,
we
sir.
go.
I appreciate it.
There we go. Now I understand why I have on a scarf.
Yo, shout out to everybody tuned in. Before we get to our guests coming in, my cousin Kevin Robinson down in, I think, Charlotte, North Carolina. The Future Society. Peter, Senor, Guapo.
David.
Brother Davidson, how you doing?
He
WCA.
said it's all misinformation. That's what he said. Ken Bright, middle class don't really exist. That's an illusion. There is no middle class. My cousin Kevin said no benefits. And he said you have to think multiple streams of revenue in this economy. I totally agree.
Real. That's real.
I totally agree. And that brother right there, that's my mentor. He's always told me that. He's like, yo, you got to have that multiple streams. He's always told me that for years. Ben Fox is on. I said Ken Bright. Oscar Davis Jr. What's going on? Kevin
Is that the
Bunch.
Honorable Oscar Davis?
The Honorable
Okay.
Oscar
That's the
Davis.
Honorable
Get it
Oscar
right, AJ,
Davis.
please.
The Honorable. I'm never going to hear the end of that when I see him. I'm never going to hear that. We got Uncle Frank tuned in, Frank Trulio Jr.
Frank.
Kiki
Hey, what's up, Frank?
Carrier. Kiki Carrier. I think that's everybody that I didn't get to. Jeff Ford. Shout out to Jeff Ford. Strong Island. Joanne Capadani. What's going on? Oh, and Peter Senor Guapo Davidson says, shouting y'all from Vegas.
Nice.
Yes.
Yes.
Enjoy, brother. Don't spend all your money.
Word up. Like I said, for those who just tuned in, we're going to have Sister and Sister International
She's
on
here.
for the first half an hour. They're going to talk about their event, Black Girls Rock, next week, and then somewhere around between 6:45 and 7 o'clock. All of y'all who have been waiting, we will be addressing Mount Vernon Mayor Richard Thomas being arrested and arraigned, and everything that comes with that. So, but we will be dealing with that in the second. I know that's what everybody want to hear. We will be dealing with
It's
that
just her.
in the second hour. We gonna who's that? Cheryl? Tell Cheryl to come on in. Okay, well when you're ready, Cheryl, just come on in. And that stack of papers out there is for you. That whole stack. Yeah. So yeah. So I just want to fill everybody in. Anybody else tuned in? Yo, we're because of the conversation in the second half, I know everybody's gonna want to call in. We're gonna have limited calls, and I'll figure out what time because we want to address a whole lot. We're gonna try to get a whole lot in that time.
And I'm
Yes, cousin. He said black girls they do truly rock. Yes.
and I'm gonna give a warning. If you call in with sincere ignorance or conscientious stupidity, you will get embarrassed and hung up on.
Shut them down. Shut them down. Shut them
I'm
down.
dead. I'm dead up with that. If you call in, I will embarrass you.
And shout out to
How you doing?
Yasmin Hurston. Come on in. She's tuned in.
How's everything?
Yes, we're
There you
gonna
go.
have we're gonna have no nonsense. We're gonna have no
How you
nonsense.
Hi. Good to see you.
Yeah, nice to see you too.
Oh, yes, good to see you.
So
Dr. Tracy Alexander. Yeah. Damon Jones.
Tracy.
Publisher and AG.
Hi, Tracy. Mike's big brother AJ.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Angel.
Yeah. So I'm like Tracy.
Oh my, Mrs. Sky.
How are you doing?
Okay, this is too funny.
Yes, this is family.
This
This is family.
family.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And I see.
You're AJ. You know AJ.
My little AJ?
I don't know who you. I'm not sure who you talking about.
AJ ain't never been little. That's how.
Well, I've been
That's what
little.
we trying. I'm trying to figure.
Diane.
But she knows
AJ.
Mike. But she know Mike though, right?
She knows Mike. I think she knows
I'm
Mike.
Mike's.
She
I'm
hasn't
Mike's
seen him.
big brother.
Yeah, she hasn't seen him in so
Uh,
long. Oh,
yeah,
ready
I'm
to
Mike's big
caption it?
brother.
Okay. We getting ready to go. Hold on one second.
Okay.
Can we go live? Can we do Facebook
Yes,
Live?
do all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we already
I'm
Facebook
already
Live.
Facebook Live. You can share
The
it from my page.
the show is already
Yeah,
live.
you can share it from my page.
Okay, share from your
Because
page.
yeah, the station feeds in straight to
Okay, 'cause
Facebook
She was
Live.
going to go on my page.
Oh, you can do that too, but I'm
Okay.
saying you can go to my page and just share the
We'll do
the
everything.
live feed to your page.
We'll do everything.
AJ Woodson.
AJ Woodson. All right,
Yes.
this is good.
Yes. So welcome to the show. We have Cheryl.
Yes.
Okay, my first time meeting you. We've talked.
Yes, we
and
have.
everything.
Absolutely.
Of Sister to Sister International, and Dr. Tracy Alexander, who we go way back.
Way back family.
Yes, family, New Rochelle. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, wow, I saw your name on the flyer, and I'm like, is that her? Yeah.
Here we go.
Yes.
It's an honor. It is an honor to be here with everybody today.
Oh, thanks for
this
coming.
Sunday.
Welcome.
Let me
Pleasure
give
to
you a-
meet you all.
Let me give you an official round of
Welcome.
Yes. So next week, shout out to Reginald Lafayette in the house.
Reginald
Tuned in.
Lafayette.
And shout out to Carmen Gomez
Hello, Frank.
Goldberg, tuned in.
Come in.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes. So everybody want to hear the second half of this show.
What's
So-
that, the
so-
cardiac offense you running there over there?
Just the cardiac.
So next week, next week Sunday, March 25th, Westchester Black Girls Rock. That's I'm trying to scan the flyer real quick. This is where at?
It's going to be at Iona College in New Rochelle, New York.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay, 3 to 5, doors open at 2:30.
Oh yeah.
And you're gonna have featuring spectacular interview night to remember, Beverly Bond.
Beverly Bond, the one and only
Yes.
Black Girls Rock.
Yes,
Absolutely.
yes.
That's great.
Absolutely.
That's great.
Dr. T, Tracy Alexander, and the place to be right here.
Oh yeah.
And another one of my friends, DJ Coco Chanel.
Absolutely.
We came
on-
up together in hip hop together, so she, very nice DJ. She, one of the sisters that was doing her thing for a while.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So now tell me a little bit about the event, Cheryl.
Sure. Well, let me just begin by saying it's a pleasure to be here, and
Good
so
to see
happy.
you.
Thank you very much. Long time.
Yeah.
And as it relates to the wonderful work that you've been doing in the community, certainly I've seen the newspaper, and
do me a
I
favor,
was-
just make
was
sure
that
y'all
your-
pull the mic to you. It moved to you. Pull it up.
All right.
We
We
wanna
need to do a
make sure
sound
we hear
check.
you. Yeah, there you go.
One check,
Testing.
I
two.
want everybody to hear you clearly. There you go.
All right.
Be good.
Testing.
That's
There you
good
go.
right there.
That's
Testing.
good.
Is
You're
that
good.
better?
You're
Excellent.
Okay, good. So yeah, I went to had the pleasure of participating in your conference not too long ago, and very happy now to be here today to talk to you about Westchester Black Girls Rock. And certainly we're delighted. Sister to Sister International has had the opportunity to meet and collaborate with Beverly Bond previously at the Obama White House, and we were looking forward to the opportunity of her book coming out and being able to collaborate again. And wouldn't you know that my good friend Dr. T, who's been doing a great job with this work over the years, actually is the person that's helping to promote her book and so on. So the two of us came together and we said, well, gee, why don't we produce a Westchester Black Girls Rock? So not only are we going to have the great pleasure to hear about Beverly Bond and certainly her book, and Dr. T will tell you more about that, but what I want to, what I'm most excited about is the fact that Beverly Bond also inspires young girls. And certainly that's what Sister to Sister International has been about now over the past 20 years, linking women and girls of African descent to various resources. We have a STEAM camp, and we talked about collaborating with Beverly and her various ventures for girls as well. So it's going to be a marvelous event. Not only will we be featuring Beverly Bond, we'll be honoring some of our local sheroes and certainly local girls. We've got everyone from Cortesia Norman, who owns a couple of McDonald's in the area. We also have the Honorable Pearl C. Qualls, the first black woman to serve on the Westchester County Board of Legislators. And then we have our STEAM girls, who will be rocking, our college students who we will be acknowledging as well. So we're very excited.
I see you have. I was going to have remarks from another friend of the show, New York State Senator Andrew Stewart Cousins.
Absolutely, no
Right.
question about that. We don't do a program without her.
Yeah.
She's
That's right, that's right.
She's been a long-time member of Sister to Sister International, and she will, in fact, be joining us and delivering greetings on the program as well.
Well,
That's great.
that's a beautiful thing, and of course, March is Women's Month, Women's History Month,
Absolutely.
and thanks Sister to Sister to be one of the advertisers in the March issue.
Absolutely.
You know, I always thank all the advertisers because it's the advertisers that help us keep the publication free to the people. And you know, if you charge 50 cents or $1, the people who need the information wouldn't get the information. So we keep it free thanks to the advertisers. So I always like to big them up.
Absolutely.
It's our pleasure.
Now, Tracy, now you have a book. Now, what's the name of your book now?
Well,
You have a show. You have a
this
show.
is right. So Book Alive is my brainchild, and it's all about bringing the audience to the author. So
Okay.
you may know we've already
So
had
you're
Jennifer
still doing
Lewis.
TV.
Oh,
You're still doing
yeah.
the TV interviews thing. Okay.
Oh yeah, you know my
Right,
resume.
right, right,
Absolutely,
right.
absolutely. I've been very blessed and very fortunate to be in the industry for about 30 years with Queen Latifah,
Right.
BET, and the list goes on and on. But now it's really bringing the educational experience to mainstream. So
Okay.
it's about the author and the audience. See, we want people reading, right? We're all about education.
Absolutely.
That's right.
And it's really important to make sure our generation, we move it forward and we make sure that education is paramount. So, but how do we do it, right?
Right.
How do we do it? We keep it interesting. We keep it very interesting. And most importantly, we bring people that look like us, that can bring some information, pass their pearls, share their pearls. That's what I talk about. For example, you may know I brought Taraji P. Henson. She joined us last year, which was phenomenal. We just had Jennifer Lewis.
Okay.
We just had Cookie Johnson.
Okay.
Of course, Ambassador Andrew Young. He came to join us
Great.
last year. So these are the kind of people that are coming to Westchester to share their pearls with
That's
our
great.
young people, with our
That's great.
community. And now Beverly Bond, who we are really excited about. And I just
Absolutely.
want to say this about Beverly. More importantly, everyone knows Bev from Black Girls Rock on BET.
Right.
But when you come March 25th, our conversation is going to be so much more than that. Because, see, Bev has been rocking for a long time.
Right.
Right? Bev's been rocking. She's been an activist for a very long time.
Yes, yes.
So what you see her glory, but there's a real big story behind that woman who has been rocking for a long time, really motivating, influencing, and empowering our young girls of color, our black and brown girls. And we're going to talk about what it really takes, because we want our young people to know you've got to put some work in, okay?
Right.
You've got to put some work in. So, in other words, you got to speak what you seek.
That's right.
Speak what you seek. And it's interesting because my daughter heard that today on Sprinkle of Jesus. And I said, you know, I just heard that because I interviewed Marshawn Evans Daniels just the other day.
Okay.
And we kept talking about speak what you seek until you see what you've said.
Yes, yes,
And
yes.
that's what we're going to be talking about March 25th. And that's the reason why this collaboration with Sister to Sister International is so important, because Cheryl's been rocking for a long time here in
Yes.
Westchester.
Yeah, but I remember when
Motivating.
she started it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's been a while.
And influencing our young girls of color, our black and brown young ladies. So we've got something very special happening
Absolutely.
March 25th. So come on out and rock with us.
Absolutely,
good,
absolutely. Well, you know, that's another thing. Like, you know, the show People Before Politics, we end up holding the feet to the fire of a lot of elected officials and stuff like that. But it's great when we get to showcase
Absolutely.
people that are doing things in the community, so that, like you said, the youth can see that these things exist. That they,
Absolutely.
you know, the unsung heroes
Right.
and sheroes, you know,
Right.
that have been putting work in for the community for years, and
Right.
they get no accolades. That's why we started Black Westchester, the newspaper. And we have, I think we have 1 or 2 people going to cover the event. I know Cynthia Turnquest Jones.
Yes.
She said-
Masoro.
Okay,
Yes.
she should be there, I think, and she's covering it for Black Westchester.
Yeah, she is.
And I
She's
believe,
there.
Yeah.
and I believe Tasha Young might be rolling through too, and so we should have 2 people
Awesome.
covering the event for Black Westchester.
Great.
So,
Awesome.
Excellent.
yeah, yeah.
Excellent.
And I wanted to be, you know, like I could be there, but you know, my sisters need to be there to cover this event about sisters. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
But we have a seat for you now.
Oh, yo, no, I know.
You are welcome. Listen, because listen, we need our brothers in the house.
That's
we
right.
definitely
That's
need our
right.
brothers in the house.
That's right.
No doubt, no doubt. Real quick, shout a couple of people: Caitlin Gleason, Wilfred Dennis, Glenn Plummer, Kenneth Chamberlain Jr., Delia Farquharson, councilwoman, Mount Vernon councilwoman.
Yeah, that's right.
Delia Farquharson, Craig Jackson, who, as every week, got praise for Damon. I'm not even gonna read all that.
Thank you, my brother. I appreciate
Shout
you.
out, and my cousin Kev said truth. Shout out to my cousin Kevin again, Kevin Robinson, my mentor. He's down there. I think he's in Charlotte now. He's been with me every step of the way. A lot of stuff I did, and I appreciate. You know, it's a big deal for me for him to be listening today. So
Oh, yeah,
and I just want to give him a
Oh,
shout
that's
out.
cool.
You know what I'm saying?
Excellent. Excellent.
Because, you know, for everything we do, there was somebody behind us, encouraging us and giving us the inspiration and the knowledge. And that's what I try to do with the show, and bring y'all on and let you know, show the people that are doing that. Because,
Sure.
you know, one of the biggest things in our community, we'll see like a lot of older people die, and we see that knowledge and that they had with them die with them. And then the next generation is starting from scratch,
Absolutely.
trying to figure it out. You know what I'm saying? When we need to pass that, we need to embark that knowledge on, you know, to the youth. Those that want it. Now, not everybody don't want it. You know what I'm saying? But those that want it and are seeking it. And the youth have to be receptive.
Absolutely.
Right.
And not know, they think they know it all. And, you know, that's the only way we continue to work on
Sure.
and continue
Right,
to go
right.
to the next level. So
As a
that's,
matter,
that's
yeah, as a matter of fact, if I might add, in terms of the Sister to Sister International STEAM program, a lot of people think science, technology, engineering, arts, math, and that's what it's all about. Well, certainly it is. It's a major area of focus because that's where the jobs are growing twice
right.
as fast.
That's right.
But our girls, and certainly we're significantly underrepresented overall. So what we do is not only get our girls prepared to seek careers in STEAM, but we also give them a well-rounded program. So, for example, they learn about politics. They do voter registration. They get involved with civic activities. They've been to the March on Washington, and the list goes on. So you mentioned people before politics. Yes, this is very relevant, and I think that it's very important that no matter what we're doing with our youth in Westchester, that we make sure that they, quote unquote, know what time it is.
Right.
Because we
Absolutely.
need them to be able to stand up, and we need them to be able to accept the baton and continue the struggle. And that, again, is why, you know, I applaud what you're doing. I mean,
Thank
it
you,
took a
thank you.
lot
Thank you.
to step out and do this.
Thank you. Speaking of Black Girls Who Rock, Sean Patterson Howard, she said, shout to my sisters Cheryl and Tracy, Black Girls Rock. And my
Great.
daughter's mother, Rose Dixon, is listening. Shout out to her, another Black girl that rocks. She has a
Excellent.
new book out. I have to, it's in the next paper. You'll see it.
You got it.
I got a
We
little
need to know
spotlight.
about
it.
Yeah, it's a little spotlight. And she got, because I think she does child care or something. And
We
it's
definitely need to
helping,
know about it.
It's helping parents, some of the struggles they have in the early developmental ages, you know. So she kind of wrote a little manual book about it. So,
Gotcha.
like I said, it'll be in the next issue. So,
And I just
Look
want to
for it.
quickly say a quick shout out to my Sora, Sean Patterson Howard. Just want to say big up to you.
Yes,
and a
yes.
special
Absolutely.
hug and a big kiss to my Sora, Sean.
That's right.
Likewise, ditto, ditto.
I want to ask because in this generation and dealing with the White House that we're dealing with,
haha.
from a black woman's perspective, what are the crucial points that you would tell young black women and how to maneuver through society that is anti-black right now, anti-black family? I have a granddaughter. She's 4 years old. And it is fearful to know and see a system, a racist system, to know my granddaughter might grow up that they won't be actually black men around on her level,
Wow.
you know, because of mass incarceration, because troubled educational system, and a political process that is not fair to black people at all. So, from a black woman's perspective, how do young black girls guide themselves through that?
Wow.
Well, I think that first and foremost, let me just say that Black Women Rock. It was black women who
Right.
I had the opportunity to serve as the chairperson for Westchester County Women of Color for Hillary, as well as past president Westchester Black Women's Political Caucus. So I know a little bit about politics, and I would say that certainly the 45 whom we have in the White House right now is definitely not serving our purpose, and we want to make sure that our young people know that, but we also want them to feel encouraged. We want them to feel empowered. We want them to know what time it is. Clearly, we need to be working towards voter registration. We
Right.
need to make sure we just get him out of there.
That's right.
But the good news is he's showing us exactly who he is.
That's right.
Okay, so that said, we need to make sure that the next generation is out there in the streets, whether it's for DACA or whatever the situation might be.
Right.
Whether it's, certainly the racist killings or whatever the case is, we need to make sure that our students are protesting and having their voices heard. My daughter's a junior at Stony Brook University, and she led a march against DACA.
Good.
So again, this is the kind of thing that we encourage our young people to do. It's not good enough to just sit on the sidelines, but you need to get involved. You need to be an activist. During our STEM program, we've invited people like Sean Patterson Howard, who comes in and talks about civic activities. So again, we need to make sure that we're enrolling them in our vision.
That is a powerful, powerful question that you posed to us. And I have to say this. First of all, for me, it's about being present. And I understand about the movement, and I understand about being active, but we need to be present. And present means we need to be engaged.
That's right.
We need to be engaged. Number one, the first thing we need to do is show up with your daughter. You know, I'm really fortunate. I'm really blessed. I have my 16-year-old daughter with me today. She is rocking with me today, and she's in
Right.
training.
Right,
So
that's
she's
right.
rocking with me. You know,
Right.
when I'm rolling with Taraji,
That's
she's
pretty
right
cool.
there.
That's
I
Right.
mean, she held it down. Truth be told, she held it down for me, held down the press at 16 years old, and she made everything go so smoothly for Taraji and her PR person. But that's because she was present.
Right.
That's because I took the time to make sure I bring her. Now, Cheryl, you can, I'm sure anybody who's a mom knows it takes work.
That's
It
right.
takes work to
That's
bring
right.
your son and your daughter along with you. Okay?
right.
Because you got to wait for them. They got to make sure that their hair's
Yes.
parted and the pom-pom is just right and everything is just so. But that's
right.
why I say you have to be present and really, really say, I'm committed to doing the work. And you mentioned maneuver. I talk about navigating. And in fact, for me, I came out of the newsroom and I went into the classroom. So that's the reason why I can sit back and say I share my pearls.
Right.
Having 30 years of working and being the first African American woman to anchor the news in central Louisiana for ABC,
Wow.
I know what it takes. I know the tears. I know what it means to hear, no, you can't do.
That's right.
No, you're not good enough. No, that's not the job for you. You're not going to get that job. How are you going to do that job? I've heard all of the no's, but I'm here to tell you that's the reason why I went back into the classroom. That's the reason why it's really important for me to be in that classroom in higher education. So those young people, they see someone who looks like me, who speaks like them, who can relate to them. I meet you where you are, so therefore I can help elevate you.
That's right.
And that's what I'm talking about, being present. Because
right.
see, I get it. My mother, she never made more than $30,000 ever. But I never wanted. I traveled the world because she was present.
That's right.
She was engaged. And so the question that you ask, we have to really show up for our young girls. And we have to also show up and be there for our young men just
That's
as
right.
well. Because you
That's
talked
right.
about the fact incarceration.
That's
We
right.
all know. Third grade, fourth grade, we all know they're looking at those tests and they're
That's right.
determining the outcome of those tests to determine how many
many
prisons
cells
that
they
they're
need,
going
right.
to
That's
build.
right.
So
That's
it's
right.
up to us to make sure and teach what 45 is doing or not doing. But I got news for you. Take note of 45, because guess what? He's taking care of his
That's
and his
right.
own.
That's
Yeah,
right.
that's
So we better
exactly what he's
right.
doing. Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah, he's setting himself up.
He's
That's
setting
lovely.
himself up,
That's
and it's
right.
called legacy. And I
Yeah.
talk about legacy, and I talk about this with my sorors, my girlfriends, my sister friends, my children. The word is legacy.
Absolutely.
Build your legacy today.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Speaking of Black Girls that Rock, shout out to Priscilla Ichi, who's down with the show. She's tuned in. Shout out to our homie Max
Yes.
Maxwell. Kevin was saying working with our youth is a great investment in our future, in our time. You know, and when Corey was on the show, Corey Pegues, he said a lot of times people say they don't have time for this, they don't have time. He said, you know what, the youth may represent maybe 30% of the population, but they're 100% of our future.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So, you know
Absolutely.
what I'm saying? So I always quote Corey on that one.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I like
you
it.
know, yeah. So I applaud all that y'all are doing. I know your work, and you know I know of you, but now
Absolutely.
we know, you know, anything we can do to support what y'all are doing and help get the word out. You know, you work with media, so
Oh,
any
yeah.
message you need to get out to the community,
Oh, yeah.
you know, just hit me.
Definitely,
Definitely.
yeah.
Wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful.
Anything I didn't ask y'all about the conference, I want everybody to know. And anybody who's listening now who wants to know more, is their website, social media,
Yes,
how can they
there is.
contact y'all individually, collectively?
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Yeah, we're telling everyone to come on out to Westchester Black Girls Rock. As a matter of fact, we have tickets available on Eventbrite at bwgc2018.eventbrite.com. So certainly if you want to purchase your tickets, again, that's bwgc2018.eventbrite.com. Further, we have a GoFundMe page, support Black girls, because we want to try to underwrite as many girls to participate as possible. We have limited scholarships as well. We also have a VIP reception, and that is only $150, and people will have the opportunity to have their photo taken with Beverly, in addition to, of course, a chat and chew and all kinds of wonderful things. And I should also say that all of the funds that are raised are to benefit Sister to Sister International STEAM programs for Black and Latina and certainly girls of color. So we encourage everyone to come on out. We're going to rock the house. It's going to be inspirational. We're going to pour into our girls. We're going to help them become critical thinkers, because again, that's what it's all about.
Absolutely.
Not just what you read and what you see. It's about
That's
being
right.
a critical thinker and really peeling back the onion and understanding what the real deal is. But also at the same time, we're going to have some fun. We have certainly DJ Coco Chanel in the house. So everyone's going to leave pleased and proud. We're saluting
good.
our youth and we're saluting our elders. So come on out and join us.
Great.
I just
Great.
want to say everybody needs to support this.
Yes.
And you know, if you don't have a daughter, you might have a niece,
Absolutely.
the girl in the neighborhoods, one of your students, somebody that you can bring through. And also, it might be important, bring some of your boys, young boys, so they
Absolutely.
can see, you know, what the women are doing, you know,
Absolutely.
because we need to teach that, you know, as well. Sean wanted to add, we must be willing to have crucial conversation with our young people. We must support them as they find their voice and shape their message. The way they present or show up might be a little different or a little bolder than our way, but it's authentic. We must help them stand up in truth. And then she said the conference is going to be epic.
Epic.
And epic is in all capital letters. Epic.
Sure. Absolutely.
These women move in excellence. So
Amen.
and
Beautiful.
Kevin wanted to say to everybody, no leads to yes if you're willing to put in the work. So, you know, I just wanted to add all that in. I thank everybody for tuning in. Everybody needs to go.
Yeah, can you mention once again the date, time, and place where the conference is being held?
Absolutely. We are going to be at Iona College, March 25th, from 3 to 5. Doors open at 2:30 p.m. Be there at 2:30 p.m. because we know you want to get your photos, take photos with your friends and what have you, right? So we want to make sure you come and get a little light refreshment at 2:30. At 3 o'clock, we are going to start the celebration. We've got a wonderful ceremony at 3 o'clock that we're going to honor as some of the most amazing women in Westchester who've been rocking for a long time, that Cheryl has just told us. And then we're going to sit down and we're going to talk to Beverly Bond, and we're going to rock with her for a little bit.
Absolutely.
Okay, so that is at Iona College. The Mayflower entrance, we will be at Murphy Auditorium. So come to Murphy Auditorium at 2:30. And let me just say this. Cheryl talked about the reason why we're doing this. We're raising funds to make sure we continue to pass the baton. We pass our pearls. We share our pearls. This is the reason why we are using our resources to make sure we take care of our own, just like 45. We've taken
right.
care of our
That's
own. Let's
right.
be real clear. So these funds are to make sure that Cheryl can make sure that these young ladies get to the UN, which she took them on this past Friday. You see, she's working around the clock for our
That's right.
children. Okay, so but it takes money, and see, without the message, without the mission, see, you need money. Without money, there's no message,
That's
there's
right.
no mission. See, it goes hand in hand, and see, we forget that, and we've got to become economically astute. We need to
Absolutely.
become economically critical thinkers. And that's what this is about, taking care of our own and
That's
putting
right.
the finances and the money next to the message and to the mission.
That's right. Freedom is not free.
It's
It's nothing,
Amen to that.
There's nothing free and free.
Amen to
It's
that.
a cost. It is a cost, whether it's a cost spiritually, mentally, physically, and it's a cost economically.
Absolutely.
How
Absolutely.
many girls do you mentor? Do you have?
At Sister to Sister International, we've mentored over 100 girls.
Beautiful.
That's
Absolutely.
beautiful.
And we not only have them in high school, we have them in college, and we also have them now at middle school.
Wow.
So we're really
Good.
creating a pipeline
right.
so that we get that continuity of support, and we then land them in a STEAM career. But more importantly, not only do they have the STEAM career, they're knowledgeable young adults. They know what time it is, and they know they have to continue to carry the bloody mantle. Because, that's what it's all about.
Yes. Well, I thank you, and whatever we could do, whatever Black Westchester Magazine, the People Who Support Politics, radio show, whatever we could do for y'all are welcome to come back on the show, even do a recap.
Absolutely.
that-
How about
that-
that? We're going to take you up on that.
That would be great. 'Cause
I'm
We'll
back,
take you up on
so-
that.
I'm glad to see you.
But
grow.
I just want to say, you know, there's times when we need to stop and we need to support each other. And I always talk about the importance of supporting black businesses, especially black media, but organizations like this need to be supported so that they can continue to provide what our youth need. You understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
We always complain the youth is out of control, and I always say, you know, if it wasn't for a lot of people older, I'd be dead or in jail right now. And I said the fact that I'm not, you know, I got to credit a lot of people. So if the youth is out of control, it's not the youth that's failing us. It's this generation that's failing the youth.
How about that?
You understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely, I agree.
And I'm very big on that. So, you know, we need to support. I mean, it doesn't have to be a lot of money. Some people got a lot, some people got a little. I mean, but we need to support organizations like this that are doing for the community, that are putting in the work. And I salute you, like Damon said, come back for a follow up. We're going to have two people, prayerfully they'll both be there and cover it from their different perspectives.
Absolutely.
For the paper and for the website. And just keep doing what you're doing.
And you
Thank
keep
you
doing
very
what you're
much.
doing. Thank you so
Absolutely.
much.
Thank you.
Grace and gratitude to each and
Thank
every
you.
one of you.
Thank
We
you.
are honored. We are humbled.
Thank
and we
you.
thank you. And what a blessing to be here this
Thank
Sunday
you.
evening.
Thank
Absolutely.
you.
Thank you
Absolutely.
very much.
Absolutely. And like I said, that stack of papers.
Yes.
I don't know if you want to, you know, for the conference
I
itself.
actually,
we'll
we'll
that's
take
what I
it.
said. That whole stack is for
Definitely.
y'all.
Sure, no problem.
Yeah.
I put him near the door. Thank you very much. Thanks very much.
Shout out to John Morrison. I think he's from Yonkers Boxing. That they came up with the young boxers.
Hey, brother Martin, what's happening?
They were by here,
Um,
right?
Yeah, he came by. Yeah.
Shout to Kenneth Plummer.
Yes,
Shout
brother.
to
Plumber.
shout to
Ronald Claxton.
okay, I don't see that name, but thank you. Any
Well,
names
I
don't
see it over here.
Yeah, any names I don't get, let me know, cause Louise from Greenberg.
Priscilla,
She said yes.
Sister Priscilla
Yeah,
Ichi.
Yeah,
All right, Maxwell.
yeah. Hey, I got both of them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You got Glenn
Well,
Butler?
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, Glenn Butt. Yeah. Got him too. Yo, but we thank you again for coming through.
Thank
we
you.
applaud y'all. We wish y'all the best. And everybody needs to come out next Sunday,
Yes.
March 25th, 3 to 5, Iona College, Murphy Auditorium, 25 Mayflower Avenue. And for all y'all out there, the best part is parking is free on the premises. Jay, you got to worry about
Palm
that.
Sunday,
And
so
the
go
premises.
and worship first.
That's
and
it,
we'll
that's
see you at
it.
2:30.
There you go.
You can go and do
There you
God's
go.
work.
Yes,
There you go.
That.
And I'm going to give y'all another round of applause.
Yes. Thank you.
And my little sister, you keep following your mom.
Yeah,
You
but yeah.
keep being involved. You keep soaking in
That's it.
everything you can soak in of everybody around her that she exposed you to. Business card.
Bring it out.
Yes.
You don't stand on ceremony. I don't need business card. Just give it to the sky.
Yeah.
She knows how to get.
Okay,
That's
well,
She a PR person.
That's it. That's it.
Right here.
That's it.
They're getting it.
Yeah,
That's
'cause
what
we
it's
got,
all
we,
about.
We got to
Awesome.
get back in touch. I definitely. Yes.
I didn't know.
I'm about to call Mike later and tell him when I understood you was on the show. I will absolutely. And Dolores, yeah.
Tell everybody.
It was good to see you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Pleasure to meet you.
Thank
Good
you.
luck
All right.
with next Sunday's
Take care.
program.
Thank you.
Sister to Sister International, Westchester Black Girls Rock, next Sunday again, March 25th, 3 to 5, doors open at 2:30, Iona College, Murphy Auditorium, 25 Mayflower Avenue, New Rochelle, free parking on the premises, definitely going to be an experience that you don't want to miss. So make sure that y'all come. John Morrison said, what's up, brothers? Keep doing what y'all are doing. The boxing team is still doing great things. D. Wilson said, hello, good evening, everyone. And Patricia Malone Perry just tuned in. And DJ Nesto from Virginia. I forgot what part of Virginia. Shout out to DJ Nesto. Somebody I know for many, many years. Now we wanted to definitely uplift that event for next week. Like I said, we'll have Cynthia Turnquest Jones and I believe Tasha are both going, and they're going to cover it from their perspective. But we want to transition on to something that many of y'all have contacted us and many of y'all have tuned in to listen to This past Monday, Mount Vernon Mayor Richard Thomas was arrested and arraigned for corruption charges, and Attorney General gave this big press conference, and we covered it, and everybody covered it. That's a Telemundo was out there. I was like, I ain't never seen I never seen 47 Telemundo if it wasn't a Hispanic or Latino thing. It was, but they found hey Poppy, what's up, Papa? What's his
Jamie.
name? Yeah, they found somebody to talk to. They talked to him. They put him on the mic. Shout to Monty Whitaker in Baltimore. Yeah. So we are getting ready to transition to that. But we definitely wanted to give our guests a chance to talk about the event. So with that, I'm gonna let Damon open this up.
Yeah, listen, I just wanted to I posted a flyer, right? And the flyer said that Mount Vernon residents need to start thinking like Wakanda.
Wakanda, yeah.
And stop allowing our leaders to sell off our vibranium. Now, it might sound crazy, but you got to understand. Historically, Mount Vernon has the best piece of land, like Wakanda. They have the best piece of land in Westchester County. And for over a 30-year period, it has been systematically destroyed with the lack of economic development, with the overcrowding of schools. So when we talk about and resources being pulled out because the buildings that are being built are not owned by people in Mount Vernon, right? The stores that's in there are not, a lot of them are not owned by people that live in the city. A lot of the employees that work in City Hall don't live in the city now. So the resources are being sucked out. The vibranium of Mount Vernon is being given away when it shouldn't be. So when we look at an issue of the current mayor, right? He is a byproduct of 30 years of a political process that has been rooted in the lack of leadership that has looked out for the city. So it's not a Democratic problem. It's not a Republican problem. It's actually a leadership problem that we have to address if Mount Vernon is going to survive. I'm not pointing any fingers. We're just having real conversation about what's going on. You know, and I really hope that the AG's office, the district attorney's office, the U.S. attorney, that they clean whatever mess that needs to be cleaned up so we could start off fresh. So we all can get our, as Paul Mooney says, we all could get our nigga wake up call, right? And look at each other and change the city. So, you know, I really hope that this is a wake up call. You know, a wake up call to those who think they want to get elected and suck the system dry while the people of Mount Vernon are starving, right? A wake up call for the people of Mount Vernon to start literally looking at the leadership in the city and looking at their city. You know, I really think, and I say this because I'm not running for no position, so I really don't care how people think. But I really think, like, as a group of people, we have Stockholm syndrome. You know, because we're so used to what we're seeing, we think the abnormal is normal.
Yeah.
You know, because no other city has to go through all this. Well, Andre always say it's been wrong for so long, people just accept it as right now. Right. It ain't no different. Like when I was talking to a cat, you know, in Yonkers, he was like, "Yo, you know,
it's the way of life in Yonkers to get beat up by the police, huh?
Yep.
Yeah, right. So like who thinks like that? You know, who thinks like that? You know, I saw it when I first came in. We was marching to fix the park. I'm like, who marches to fix a park? You know, I grew up in Greenburgh. I ain't never have a march to fix my park. That is a normally functioning government duty to make sure that the parks and the recreation is working properly. So when we don't have that type of mentality that the city is not functioning normally, then we think it's normal.
I wanna for those that don't know what happened, I wanna show a small clip of the press conference that the Attorney General Eric Sonderman had about the charges to the Mount Vernon mayor.
Will it cut us off?
No, it should.
No, Facebook.
Public corruption in Mount Vernon, New York. I'm very pleased to be joined by several members of my team who've been working diligently on this case. My Chief Deputy Attorney General, Alvin Bragg, Executive Deputy Attorney General for Criminal Justice, Margaret Garnett, my Public Integrity Bureau Chief, Dan Court, and Assistant Attorney General, Ryan Weinberg.
A lot of people worked on
I
this.
also want to acknowledge that this was an investigation that was undertaken with a referral from State Controller Tom DiNapoli. We have combined together over the last number of years on what we call Operation Integrity, which, with referrals from the Controller's Office and our coordinated effort, it has enabled the Office of the New York State Attorney General to bring far more public corruption cases than ever in the history of the office. And unfortunately, we're adding one more today. So today I'm announcing criminal charges against Mount Vernon Mayor Richard Thomas for a series of unscrupulous and illegal violations of the public trust. In court papers filed today, we outline a long-running scheme by Mayor Thomas to use his campaign account and his inaugural account as his personal piggybacks, and his post as mayor as an opportunity to reward those who paid his bills. Today we're charging Mayor Thomas with grand larceny in the third degree, a Class D felony, 2 counts of offering a false instrument for filing in the first degree, which is a Class E felony, and 2 counts of offering a false instrument for filing in the second degree, which is a Class A misdemeanor. We allege that Mayor Thomas' scheme began before he was elected back during his 2015 campaign. We allege that Thomas, who ran on a platform of cleaning up corruption in Mount Vernon, was in fact taking money directly from his campaign account to pay for personal expenses. As alleged in our complaint, he repeatedly used his campaign and inaugural accounts as slush funds to help pay off expensive cars, dinners, and even purchase a Chanel purse worth over $2,000. He also used campaign funds to make personal payments on his insurance policies and rent. After a thorough investigation, our allegations are as follows. On October 2nd, 2015, a month before the election, Thomas made a $6,400 withdrawal from his Friends of Richard Thomas campaign account and deposited that money directly into his personal checking account. Bank records show that Thomas then used that money to pay off overdue car payments for his brand new Ford Explorer and $40,000 Volkswagen. Records also show that he used that money to cover $2,050 in rent on his family's home and another $435 for insurance on his car, his wife's car, and the car of another relative. Keep in mind, this was all before Richard Thomas was even elected mayor. But as we allege, he did not stop when he became mayor. In fact, things got worse. Just 3 days after winning the election, Thomas deposited another $4,000 check from his campaign account into his personal checking account. That $4,000 was spent on personal items and never reported to the New York State Board of Elections as required by law. According to today's felony complaint, later in November 2015, then Mayor-elect Thomas made another $2,500 deposit from his campaign account to his personal checking account, which he used to pay off car payments and personal loans. Then, in late December 2015, just before he was finally sworn in as mayor, Thomas took his family on a vacation to Mexico. During that trip, he used his campaign committee's credit card to buy a $118 meal at JFK Airport and another $114 meal at a bubblegum shrimp restaurant at the airport in Mexico City. As alleged in our complaint, Mayor Thomas sought to disguise the actual location of these meals in filings with the Board of Elections. Rather than disclose that both meals were in airports, he instead listed the expenses as occurring in the Midtown corporate headquarters of one restaurant and at the Times Square location of Bubba Shrimp, falsely asserting that the meal in Mexico was a, quote, volunteer appreciation event. After becoming mayor, we allege that Thomas found a new scheme to expand his graft. Mayor Thomas raised more than $180,000 in January 2016 for the Richard Thomas Inaugural Committee and quickly put it to use as a personal piggy bank. Over the course of 2016, we allege that Mayor Thomas used this account to pay off more than $44,000 on his personal American Express card, including the purchase of the $2,000 Chanel purse. As we allege in our court papers, Thomas's graft was not limited to his campaign and inaugural accounts. He also received money from individuals and failed to report that. Just after his election, a local business owner paid off more than $5,000 on Mayor Thomas's personal American Express card. The same person had previously made payments totaling $2,800 to Thomas's Amex account in mid-September 2015. The new mayor then appointed that business owner to a high-ranking law enforcement position in city government, even though the man had no prior law enforcement experience. This bears repeating. We allege that Mayor Thomas rewarded someone who paid off Thomas's personal credit card with a position in city government charged with ensuring that the law is enforced, even though that individual has zero law enforcement experience. He will get some exposure to law enforcement in this case. We also allege that another individual paid $6,000 towards Mayor Thomas's tuition at New York University Stern School of Business. Mayor Thomas failed to disclose any of this money, and other sources of funds tailed into
I just wanted to get, it goes on for another 12 minutes. I wanted to give, especially the people that had no knowledge of this, what we're talking about, and who will feel like some of the comments made are just picking on the particular mayor. This is what we're addressing. This was Monday that just passed. This is what we're addressing. And
but you can't pick on something that has been alleged by the New York State Attorney General.
Right.
Right? You can't pick on something that has been alleged by the chief law enforcement officer of the state. So, I mean, it can't be that we're picking on anyone. When the New York State Attorney General, a Democrat, has a press conference against another Democrat, a sitting Democratic mayor, right? There's a big problem. Warning, Will Robinson. Warning, Will Robinson. Because he's not going to put his reputation, right, as the AG on the line, and I don't think he's going to settle for an L. He's going for a W. But what I want to say is, where was his advisors in allowing him to do all this stuff? And I think it is made clear on what now we know how Joe Spezio got the position, because he paid off all his bills. But in the process of that, it became a threat to public safety, not just in Mount Vernon, but a threat to public safety throughout the state of New York, because you had a campaign donor who has a deputy commissioner badge and then lies and says that he's just an honorary deputy police commissioner, but he was sworn in as a deputy police commissioner. And I want to say to all those people that are listening, especially those in Mount Vernon Police Department, you better wake up. You better wake up. And I hope that nobody in that police department did anything that was illegal because he gave you an order to do it. You have a right to refuse an unlawful order. And I hope moving forward that you're wise enough to pay attention to what you've been ordered to do. Because, like I said, the only way that we could clean this up and clean the rep of not just the city of Mount Vernon, but the Mount Vernon Police Department, is that the AG's office, the DA's office, and the U.S. Attorney General clean house. And clean house. This is not personal to anybody, but that's the only way it's gonna happen, because there's too many issues that has been going on for the last 2 years while this man has had control of the police department. I don't care who says who has what position. I don't care about that, because we know who makes the phone calls from Florida and gives the orders. Joe Spezio. That's part of why Kelly left.
He found out that Joe was.
So let's have real let's have real talk. That's why Fatigate left. Let's have real talk. So I think that everybody better wake up, because you're going to get woken up. You're definitely going to get woken up. And and for a black city, it's embarrassing. Because I hear all the time, right? I've been living in Mount Vernon for 8 years, but I've been doing work in community work in Mount Vernon since the Million Man March, when I was part of UGMA. And back in the 90s, I was the president of the Universal Community Development Corporation, which is in Mount Vernon, which was based in Mount Vernon. So when I hear, well, you ain't from here, or how you talk about that, but you ain't from here, right? He's not from here, right? But you let somebody that's not from here control the whole damn city, and nobody's saying nothing.
Not only is he not from here, don't even look like you. I mean,
right. The pastor's been quiet, right? All the little community activists been quiet, right? Ain't nobody saying nothing, because they think he a mob guy or something like that.
Well, some of them got money. Some of them got money too. I mean,
right. So we're ain't nobody man up. Nobody was manning up. The man threatened a councilman, right? He threatened Andre Wallace, right? Told the man that he can't afford what he got. You know what that means? That means he don't respect his blackness. For him to say something like that to a councilman, to a sitting councilman, and threaten them, and black men in Mount Vernon wasn't outraged. They wasn't outraged.
There was more outrage when Anthony Beauvais and Richard Thomas, as a councilman, got into a mutual skirmish. There was a call for Anthony Beauvais' head. You know what I'm saying? And I was outraged that there wasn't that same call when Andre Wallace got threatened, physically threatened, and it was on camera and everything. And you didn't.
You ain't hear anything.
Right.
You didn't hear anything.
If it wasn't for us, the story might not even be out.
Thank you. I mean, it's a shame. So so when I see all these same people, want to talk about Wakanda forever and all that other bullshit, and wearing your dashikis and all that.
They were drinking green beer yesterday.
Right. No, well, not even that. Well, you've been colonialized, right? You allow the outsider to run your city and ain't even give a damn about you, and fire all the people that have been working for City Hall, have nothing to do with politics. Nothing to do with politics. Get fired, and they put white folks in. No outrage from the preachers. No outrage from the so-called Black Power people and all that other stuff. Right? Silence. You got some people go and they make their little complaints, but it was the same people. It was the same people. Nas had more balls than some of the men in standing up and demanding justice than some of the men in the city. Some of the women had more balls than the men. We got to wake up, man. Because you know what? Mount Vernon is all black people have. And y'all don't even understand what you have. You don't even understand what you have. And you can't say, well, if they not for Mount Vernon, what do I care? But you know what? Even if they not for Mount Vernon, right? And they sitting in a bar, right? They sitting in a bar in Tarrytown, right? Mount Vernon come on. And you black and you sitting at the bar, all the white people look at you. Mount Vernon has a responsibility. And if we not going to be men and women and stand up together, then just say, if you scared, just say you scared and give it up. And give it up. Because that's what it's all about. Dr. Bob.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I know you have a few things to say. Well, you back on.
Okay. I mean, one thing is that I certainly share with lots of people a deep sense of pain and embarrassment at the charges that the mayor was hit with, because obviously it does not, make the city look good. However, and I do understand that sentiment. However, I think it's very important for us to understand that the charges that have been filed against Richard, Mayor Thomas, are in some respects just emblematic of a larger problem of pervasive corruption that afflicts communities of color all across the United States, and is one of the more serious factors that have inhibited our maximizing on the potential that we do have. In this case, the potential of the city of Mount Vernon. And so in that sense, I really think that we should be heartened by the fact that it was a very courageous and adamant stance by some of the more vocal activists and journalists in our community, and many of us in this room right now, that tried to bring to the attention of our law enforcement officials a lot of our suspicions about wrongdoing that were occurring within the city. We've been waging this fight for well over 2 years now, and I think it's in large part because we refuse to remain quiet in the face of the improprieties that we've witnessed over the past couple of years. Now, even though there's a lot of blame to go around in the disgraceful charges that the mayor now confronts, I want to be very clear that the first person who bears responsibility for this fiasco that has beset the Thomas administration is no one other than the mayor himself. The mayor was able to rally a significant amount of support from lots of members of the community, including myself, precisely because he promised to make a clean break with the more questionable, unscrupulous policies of his predecessors. And many of us were quite hopeful. In that sense, the mayor has failed to live up to the first obligation of any leader, and that is not only to avoid improprieties, avoid doing wrong, but to also avoid the appearance of improprieties. And from the charges that we've seen, the mayor has failed on both of those counts, both in terms of how he handled the money from his election committee and also from the inaugural committee. Although the mayor suggested that the complexity of campaign laws is the primary reason why he seemed to run afoul of the law, I find that to be very questionable.
Wait a minute.
I don't even think that's...
what school did he go to?
NYU.
He graduated from NYU.
But what was it supposed to be? School of Business?
Yes.
Yeah,
Did
yeah.
not
So
Richard graduated from the Wagner School of Business.
Wagner, and that's supposed to be some real
Mayor Thomas has a master's degree.
in
Not
business
in
finance.
in finance.
Yeah.
In finance,
Yeah.
he has a master's degree in finance.
Right,
If I'm
'cause
not
he-
mistaken, yes.
He threw that. He threw that in
Right.
Maureen's face during the
Okay,
debate.
so he knew how to write the checks, right? He knew how to deposit the checks in this account and move. That's what they taught at the Wagner School.
I'm sure.
The NY school.
That's what they
Stern
taught.
School of Business.
The Stern School of Business.
Stern School of
How to
Business,
move
yes,
checks
thank you.
from different accounts and from other people's different accounts. Is that what they taught?
I think that's a fundamental of finance. How the checks move.
Yeah, how the checks move.
Financial controls.
Okay,
Proper
right.
financial controls
So-
of business is certainly one of the topics that one studies while you're enrolled in business school.
Okay, so he has no excuse.
No, it's really no excuse. I mean, I don't think it's really that mystifying, everyone. You raise money for a campaign to advance a political project. You don't raise money for a campaign to advance your personal project and pad your pocket. And that is apparently what was going on. And I don't think it's hard to figure that part out.
Somebody said Trump University.
Hey, maybe so. But you know what though? But you know, everybody that's listening. But I just you know what? Sit back, right? We all sit back and we take a deep breath. Isn't it weird how the investigation in Mount Vernon is paralleling the investigation in Washington, D.C.? It's almost like a parallel. You know, it's almost like we're looking at the same investigation, but just two different bodies of government. You understand? I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. So maybe they both went to the Stearns business. Maybe Trump went there too. Maybe. but
Trump did go to business school.
Maybe that's a business thing.
He paid
Yeah.
Yo, but you know what's funny though? You know, there's a saying, be careful what you wish for. In 2015, Councilman Richard Thomas was calling for the AG's office to come in and clean up City Hall, to come in and remove Mayor Ernie Davis, to come in and investigate Maureen, come clean Maureen, who wouldn't turn over the paperwork. That he on several different times, he called for Eric Snyderman's office to come into City Hall and clean up the corruption. Sometimes you got to be careful what you wish for, because that's exactly what he's getting. It just didn't happen to be the time that he wanted it, but this is exactly what you can't. When you keep calling on a body to come investigate, and then you become mayor, they're gonna watch you twice as much.
Right.
Because you've been calling for their office for 2-3 years now. What did you think they was? Because the game changed, the player changed the game. It's still the same game. Like, and I want to say a couple of things real quick, and I just want to be fair on a fair thing. One, he's been charged. He hasn't been convicted, and in this country, you're guilty. You're innocent
Absolutely.
You're innocent until proven guilty.
Absolutely.
That's one. Two. Everybody has called me. Everybody and their mother has called me this week and asked me how much time do I think you're going. You know what? Anytime you're dealing with judges and lawyers, you never can tell the outcome. There's some people I think belong in jail that have gotten off. Some people that shouldn't be in jail that got life thrown at them. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know what the hell's going to happen. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, I think I think even though there's been charges and we're going to level a lot of criticism during this portion of the show, I do think we do need to sit back and let the charges play out before a lot of people make a lot of judgments, because you just don't never know what's going to happen. So I just wanted to say those things. And he said twice in his less than 90-second press conference on Monday, and again at his State of the City on Wednesday, that the charges against him are false.
Okay.
And, you know, so no, I just want to give. I wanted to, in fairness, I wanted to get that out.
No, and
what we're going to say.
No, and I think, okay, you know, and he has he has the right. He has the right to say that, You know, he definitely has the right to say that. And you know, I'm praying for the brother.
Actually, I am too.
You know, and I'm going to be critical because I have to be critical. But I'm really praying for the brother because he's only 35. He has a long life ahead of him, and he could change. But I also understand cause and effect, right? And I also understand that the pendulum, right, always swing back the other way, right? And I also understand what karma is.
Yeah.
The day, and I put it on March 12th at 3:53 p.m. I put it on my page because it's almost a year to the day that he unjustly suspended my wife for 7 months because they had an issue with me. Almost a year to the day. His ass came down them steps after getting charged and getting mug shots and all that. A year to the day that he unjustly suspended my wife. And I said on Facebook that God is a God of equity and justice. And I pray for that brother because he has failed to understand the laws of nature and righteousness and the laws of cause and effect on a spiritual level. We plan and God plans, but God is the best of planners. And I told Butch Thomas that you're going to only do to me and my family what God would allow you to do to me and my family. And the pendulum has swung back the other way. And I tell you right now, don't try to do nothing crazy. You got too much to worry about to start doing crazy shit. But, as I said, I do pray for that brother because he has a family, he has a wife, he has children, but he had the wrong people around him.
And not only did he have the wrong people around him, he got rid of the right people. Anybody who was speaking any sense to him, he got rid of all of them.
Well, look, if I paid your American Express,
well, I'm gonna tell you who to be around.
I wasn't paying his American Express.
Right.
I know if he called me for that wasn't happening. I'm not cutting you a check for your American Express card. But that's that. And it's, you know what? And Spezio brought more attention to what Richie was doing. I mean, he really did Richie a disservice.
By being out in front.
By attacking elderly people on Facebook. Chasing me around Facebook with the nonsense. Attacking Andre Wallace, screaming in the camera, all that. He brought the unnecessary attention to what Richie was doing.
Because, all politicians, not all politicians, but a lot of politicians have a Spezio in the background. But they're smart enough not to let you see who that is.
Absolutely.
Now, Ernie Davis and a lot of his people are going to get upset with me. There was somebody he was beholden to, but he was smart enough not to let that person be seen. That person wasn't out front. That person wasn't making no big grandstand, whatever. You understand what I'm saying? He was smart enough to keep that person out of sight. And Mr. Thomas was asked between the primary and the general election to keep him out of sight. And he was like, I can't do that. And that's why a lot of people jumped off ship after the primary. Because they were asking, just keep Spezio, at least keep him out of the limelight too. So after the general election, he was like, I can't do that.
Well, And that was his mistake.
And then he introduced him as his
Advisor.
advisor or something.
Following the
Well, that's
following
see
the
what
campaign.
see.
The
Well,
election.
live on the air.
Look. Let's make this clear, y'all. Right? Black politicians don't work for us.
They're for hire.
Richie is the extreme, right? But we don't put money in their camp. Black people on the general, right? We can't write checks, 10, 15, $20,000 checks, right? To put in their campaign finance. This is real talk, right? If you go on the New York State Board of Elections and you could pull up who gives money to each politician, right? And when you start seeing the checks for $2,500, $5,000, those are the ones that they beholden to. This is real talk. Those are the people that they're beholden to. They ain't beholden to you, little Negro that's making $10 an hour, but you run out and you vote and you vote for the politician. And this has not have to be Democrats. This is Democrats and Republicans. This is black and white. Because there's white folks out there that vote for Donald Trump or a Republican, and they not even thinking about them. There's poor white folks out there that's running, and I see them all the time at work, right? Average white folks that's voting for people that don't have their interests. When Elijah Muhammad said that 85 of the people was deaf, dumb, and blind, and 10% knew the secret of the true living God, then you have 5% that was the poor righteous teachers. He didn't mention a race. He said of the people. So that goes into everybody, right? There, 85%, everybody is deaf, dumb, and blind, and they get fooled into this game. You know, and we should be outraged. Mount Vernon residents should be outraged. Black Westchester should be outraged that their little Wakanda, right, has been taken over. Has been taken over. And we need to have a civil war to take it back. And the civil war of the mind, and the civil war in the political process. Because Mount Vernon represents, and it should be the torchlight for all black people in Westchester County. It should be the center of economic development. I remember it used to be the center of black culture, man. When I was younger, we got to get that back. It can't be the center of ignorance and foolishness.
That's what I was talking to Damon before. I said when we were younger, Mount Vernon, what like people in Mount Vernon, they go to the Fordham Road or the Delancey or wherever. To the rest of Westchester, that's what 4th Avenue was.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Like they go into 4th Avenue if you lived in White Plains or Port Chester or something. That was like us going down to Brooklyn or something. You know what I'm saying? Like you coming back with the latest sneakers or the latest Lees or whatever it was, going to Jew-Man or whatever. That's what the Ave used to be to black Westchester, to blacks in Westchester back then. It used to be the iconic, you know what I'm saying? Then you jumped on that bus or train and went back to where.
I'm telling you, man. I remember.
You used to come down to 4th Ave?
What? I remember my cousin Greg. My cousin Greg Self, man. He used to bring me to 4th Avenue. Yo, dude, man. It was like I was going to Harlem. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you get the same. You get to
See me? You saw me there?
I don't know. I could have. You know, just come get the mock necks and everything. You know. But see, but the whole thing is we gotta get back to that, right? You know, we gotta get back to that. And it's so bad that even the young kids that go off to college, they're not coming back. You know, because the city has nothing.
Some of them are counting down to the day they can go to college to get the
right.
hell out of here.
Right, to get out of here.
Come back.
Because the city has nothing. The city has nothing to offer them. You know, and the only thing we have to do is blame ourselves. You know, Nobody is left out of the blame. Right? Nobody's left out of the blame. Right? Richie should be the nigga wake up call for Mount Vernon. Should be the nigga wake up call for what the city needs to do to become the torchlight for black people, right? Because it's a black government. I know there's white people in there. I'm not stupid. But it's a black city government. It's a chocolate city for all intents and purposes.
And we as a people, we put too much on our politicians as it is. There's certain things that we need to be doing for ourselves. Like, we as a people, there's some things that would not go on if we did not allow them to go on. You know
because
we as a people, like, it doesn't matter who's in there. If it was Clinton, Davis, Thomas, and whoever the next three mayors going to be, if the people don't fight for and stand up, it's not going to change. It'll have different shades. This one will have a little bit more on this, and this one will do a little bit more of this. And, you know, maybe Memorial Field might be open temporarily part way, or like he promised or something.
Memorial Field is not even an issue anymore. Let me tell you something.
Damon for mayor.
Never that.
That's what Kevin Bright just said.
Never that. Never that. Because, see, I'll roll up my sleeve and knock somebody out at the podium. I'm not playing stuff like that. You know, I'm good where I'm at. This is where God wants me to be, and I'm blessed to be right here.
Someone else just said, "But I said, don't count on city officials to make any changes."
Well, but then why keep them in? You understand? Well, if you're not going to count on a city official to make the necessary changes, then why do you vote for them on election day? You just run in and you just vote for them, right? And they haven't done a damn thing, right? They're 4 years that they were in office. They haven't done anything. They wait till around January of the election year to start coming out, being on TV, going to events, doing all this, showing up to church, right? Showing up to church, give a couple of pastors some grants, and then they get elected again, right? But the city doesn't change. You know, I saw a conversation on Facebook where they were attacking or they were questioning, you know, former mayors, right? And the person was just like, well, look at the city. Like, you want an example that they didn't do anything? Look at the city, right? When you go to other cities, right? We have the best piece of land. Why and like AJ said, we still have to have some responsibility on ourselves. We can't blame the white man because, as I continue to say, the white man ain't breaking in my car. The white man's not pissing in my staircase. Right? It's the people that look like me. It's not the white man. So we have to have some self-responsibility, but we also need responsible public policy. So because those type of things work hand in hand. But we have to take some responsibility ourselves, right? It's not about just DPW or the parks, you know, keeping the place clean. Stop throwing lid on the goddamn floor, on the ground. Stop pissing in the parking lot. Why do I have to smell piss every time I come out in the parking lot? Doesn't make any sense. Because we do that we do that ourselves. We don't even show value to the best piece of land in Westchester County. And you wonder why other people come in, buy it up, and soon you're gonna be like Harlem and they're gonna move all your Negroes out.
I want to say that I think one of the ways in which the ordinary members of the public really do fail in their responsibility for vigorous democratic participation is our misplaced sense of loyalty to a leadership that is of the same color. Too often we decide to mute our criticism, our rightful criticism of policies in the belief that we're going to do harm to a black man. I don't think anyone, you know, here, my position, I want to make my position very clear to everyone. we do not owe an allegiance to people who do not owe an allegiance to us.
Absolutely.
It is reciprocal.
Absolutely.
It is mutual. And it doesn't matter. This is true whether you're black, white, Latino, anything in between. The American public does not owe its fealty to corrupt leaders. And we need to more vigorously denounce them whenever we suspect, or at least raise the question whenever we suspect that our leadership has gone awry and is not acting in accordance with their public responsibilities. Now, this is important, everyone, because I want to say that one of the ways in which Mayor Thomas has sought to blunt the criticism that has been unloosed as a result of these charges is by insisting that the crimes that he's accused of had no reflection on the performance of his duties while in office. And I want to just forcefully rebut that claim, because one of the charges that has been made against the mayor is that he has failed to adhere to the financial disclosure laws, which required that he give an honest and open accounting of his expenditures while he was in office. So it's not just that the mayor, in his capacity as a politician, siphoned off money that he wasn't supposed to, but rather he also did not act in the sense of transparency, in accordance with the principles of transparency that he said would be one of the guideposts of his administration when he was on the election trail. And in that sense, it has muddied the waters with regard to the epic battle that we have been waging over the past 2 years as to the role of non-resident commissioners in the city government. Because the mayor has given everyone the impression that the complaints that we raise here in this studio, in the newspapers of Black Westchester, in the pages of Black Westchester, and in the city council chamber were all baseless and manufactured lies. And as it turns out, at least from the allegations that were made by the Attorney General of New York State, that indeed it appears that Joe Spezio was padding Mayor Thomas's pockets in return for favorable treatment, including being appointed as the commissioner, as a high-ranking police commissioner, over the very department that is supposed to make sure that he acts in accordance with the law when doing his carding service. It was a clear conflict of interest.
Absolutely.
It was raised from the very moment that Rich got into office, and for 2 years he chose to ignore us and accuse people in this studio and many outside the studio of misleading the people. And in that sense, he is doubly guilty. The mayor has failed in his responsibility to act in accordance with the laws of the city charter, which require him to file honest, comprehensive financial statements. And that's another reason why people really need to hold him accountable and maintain be engaged. Now, I also want to say this, because we said that not only was the mayor guilty of misfeasance, but all the city council persons who had turned a blind eye to the questions that we had raised were in fact duplicitous at the very least. Because the responsibility of the city council is to make sure, in part, we have a properly functioning board of ethics. They could have called hearings. They could have asked the mayor to present, properly filed financial disclosure forms. The mayor's financial filings were on record with the Board of Election. So there was knowledge, at least a very strong suspicion, before the Attorney General had to step in after 2 successive years of endless pleading to more vigorously enforce the city charter. And in that sense, I think that many of the current and former members of the Mount Vernon City Council are just as culpable in the breakdown of effective governance. And I hope going forward, that means that everyone is going to be doing their level best to, adhere with the law.
Well,
Make sure those financial disclosure forms are filed. Joe Spezio was supposed to, I don't know if Joe's financial disclosure forms were in order. But as a commissioner, one of the executive officers,
Right.
those financial disclosure laws were also applicable to him.
Wow.
And he still to this day has not turned in. And one of our listeners is saying there is still no board of ethics at this time.
No, yes, there is.
Okay.
There's a board of ethics, and I think everybody should go and request to see what's going on with the board of ethics. That's all I can say about that. I think y'all need to request and see what's happening in the board of ethics. There is a board of ethics, and they have been, from my understanding, they have been doing their work due diligence. And that's all I can say about that.
And they
Okay. That's all?
That's all I can say about that. But
One of the things that
Go ahead.
one of the things that came out when you was talking about the city council and looking at the charter, the city council are called and they swear in to protect the charter.
Right.
And in not holding the mayor's feet to the fire or whoever, they are in fact breaking the charter as well.
yes, I never seen with this issue of these last 2 years, I never seen such a weak city council that they wasn't able to protect the charter or protect city employees.
Shit, they didn't even step up when one of their own got threatened.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, I never thought I would see it, but they had no clue what to do. They have no, and that's why, the political process is messed up. And you think about this. In 2 years, there have been with all the stuff that he did and all the loopholes that he created and everything that he did to city employees, there hasn't been not one charter revision to make sure that that doesn't happen in the future. Not one.
Wow.
Not one. What have they done to fix the problem? Right? Are they going to sit there and just say, oh well, he's indicted now, he's probably going to go to jail, and Spezio's going to disappear, so it's back to business as usual? No, there's a problem. Hello, there's a problem. There's a problem with the charter. The charter is outdated. The charter is very old. They have to do something, and if they're unwilling to do it, then they should not be in office. And I have respect for the majority of them, and they should not be in office. And this is, Andre's my man, and I get on him too. You got to do something. Something has to get done, because we don't want this to happen anymore. We're seeing the problems. So because sometimes it's not all kumbaya, and there are issues. And if you are a committee chair, a city council person, and you're over a committee, right? And if you request information from a department and you can't get it, then there's a problem. It has to be checks and balances. That's what the city council's for. It's for the checks and balances. And if you request information from the police department and that commissioner doesn't get it, maybe I should be in city council because I would have wrote a piece of legislation the next day that I will get whatever the hell I request. So they need to start. They need to putting some legislation together that they can actually be the checks and balances because right now there's no balance. It's out of control, and it has to take someone like the AG's office and the New York State Comptroller's office to correct the problem because they failed. City Council failed.
I mean, I want to remind everyone that several petitions
Absolutely.
Formal petitions were submitted to the City Council outlining similar allegations on the part of about wrongdoing within the early years of the Thomas administration by large numbers of citizens. I think we got, what was it, somewhere in the order, several hundred signatures for these petitions. Not only did we enumerate the various violations of the city charter that the Thomas administration was engaged in, but we also called as part of the petition for the City Council to hold special hearings which are well within its prerogatives as the legislative branch and as part of the process of holding the city government accountable. I think one of the big problems that we're seeing, especially at the local level of government, but I'm sure at all levels, is an unwillingness on the part of the legislator to play a muscular role in exercising oversight over the other branches of government. And there should have been no reason at all for this to extend now to 2 years of wrangling, legal wrangling between the mayor's office and the city council's office. And the city council really essentially sort of disarmed itself voluntarily when it refused to take full measures to ensure that the mayor's office complied with the subpoenas that were issued in March, in the first quarter of 2016, when they held a special hearing.
That was the beginning of the end. Like, and people who were pulling their strings behind the scene told them too, you can't start a fight if you're not willing. You got to be ready to go the distance.
Yes.
Like, what basically happened is it had never been done before. So they sucker punched Rich, and all of a sudden he hit back, and it was like, oh shit, he hit back. Like they thought, by serving subpoenas, they did something, but they were not willing to go the distance to take it where it needed to be took, and that set the precedent for everything else.
Absolutely.
Because I'm telling you, I was reading on Facebook, there were residents saying, "And y'all better never subpoena me for nothing, because I ain't gonna be there neither." You know what I'm saying, y'all? You know what I'm saying?
I mean, Damon already pointed out the parallels between what's going on in Mount Vernon and at the federal level, but notice, if you're following what's going on at the federal level, Democratic and Republican congressmen have raised concerns about the failure of members of the Trump administration to comply with subpoenas that were issued to them to appear before a special hearing that's investigating the allegations of Russian meddling in the campaign. And the same kind of precedent was set when the city council took the initial step to subpoena Mayor Thomas and his executive officers to appear before the special hearing and explain the process that led to the particular bid to raise the home on Park Avenue, and then the failure to follow all of the procedures in order to remove asbestos from their home. And people just rolled over. And now the problem has only gotten worse. The mayor's financial misdealings are only one of many different facets of wrongdoing that there are lots of rumors going around that he's engaged in. We saw some of it with his attempt to, hit you with a vendetta, hit you and your wife with a vendetta. But we know that that's not the only thing.
Yeah, let me tell you something. That's the most sucker move you could ever do in being a man. You know, I gotta say that too. You know, that's
what happens when I couldn't say it the same way.
That's a real. I mean, you know, when you attack somebody's wife, you know, and you make up bogus charges, and then you turn around and you plead deal it after 7 months, and you play all these little games. That's a sucker move. You know, that's a real punk move. And then they're gonna say, well, you know, they apologize. No, yeah, all right. My wife accepts your apology. I don't have to. I just pray for you. But we put it on air, and if you say it didn't happen, I got the paperwork, bruh.
Hashtag sucker move. Somebody just put.
You know, I got the paperwork. So I mean, keep all that moving. But see, all this is karma, and it's unfortunate. You don't treat people like that. If you disagree with me, then you disagree with me. But you got Spezio giving orders, and then people, yo, it's crazy. Only thing I just say, you know, for the Mount Vernon Police Department, I just hope none of y'all went out there and did nothing stupid because this man asked you to, because you felt that he was just so untouchable and so powerful, and he tell y'all go out there and to do something. Remember, y'all are the sworn law enforcement officers. Y'all took an oath.
Yes, and that
Spezio didn't. He just signed the paper. He ain't raised his hand for Jack. I'm telling you, he just signed the paper and got a badge. So y'all are the ones that sworn. I just hope that none of y'all in that police department did anything. You know, and if you did, shame on you. And if they come for you, oh well. You shouldn't have did it, because you have a right to refuse an unlawful order, especially after the city council, Councilman Wallace, the clerk, and everybody said they had no position. I saw the letters, I saw the CCs, but you still took orders from them. Okay. Well, now y'all see it's serious. And the Attorney General said it's an ongoing investigation.
You know, it's crazy, and we are coming to the close of the show soon. When we spoke to key members of the Mount Vernon Police Department, they were like, we just using them for now to get us some new bikes and some new stuff that we need. Yeah, okay, that stuff comes at a price. Like nothing's free. You understand what I'm saying? Like, yo, what did you have to give up to get that? Okay, so y'all got a couple of motorcycles or 10 speeds or whatever bikes y'all got, and maybe you got something else. What did it cost you? That's what did you have to give up? What did it cost you?
No, listen, I'm taking the Attorney General at his word that campaign donor that had no law enforcement experience, that he's going to get some experience in law enforcement after this case.
Ooh.
That's what he said.
That's what he said.
Yeah.
That's what he said, and I'm taking him up on his word, from one sworn law enforcement officer to another. I'm taking you up on your word. So it is what it is, man. You know, but I think it's a wake-up call for the people of Mount Vernon, and I hope we could get over this. And I say it again, I pray for his family, because nobody should go through this because of ignorance and greed and just thinking that position it was like a bulletproof wall, like nobody can get to you in that position. So, you know, that we can move forward. And I hope that he comes to his senses, you know, and try to do and try to take and just try to minimize the damage that's going to be on his family. So, you know, And that I will not, this ain't no kumbaya moment. We ain't having no meeting. I ain't having no press conference for support. None of that. Don't get it twisted. Only thing I'm saying is that the people of Mount Vernon, we really have to change up. And this is also the responsibility for black people outside of Mount Vernon, because it should be some outrage. It should be some outrage because we all in this together. Black folks in Greenburgh, New Rochelle, Tarrytown, Elmsford, Mount Vernon, White Plains, we all in this together. Peekskill, we all in this together. Because when you walk into a restaurant, they don't know you ain't from Mount Vernon. They just see your skin color. And when the nonsense come on News 12 and come on, they look at you. Even you driving a Mercedes Benz or you whatever, they're going to look at you. So you can't get away from it. So why don't we just correct it as a people? How hard is that? Unless we still got that slave gene in us where we just scared. And we just don't want to work together. And then we get jealous and start hating and all the crazy stuff. So we just can't, and don't blame the white man because the white man didn't tell nobody to move checks around. Maybe the white man did. Maybe his advisor did tell him. We don't know. But, but we gotta accept the responsibility now. Because what has happened this week is the failure. It's the failure on us.
Right.
It's a failure on us. Because see, he's gonna go on, he's gonna do what he has to do with his case, right? But we're still left with a city that needs help. A city that needs to be rebuilt. A city that needs a school system, need to address the issues in the school system. A city that needs economic development. A city that needs to get people jobs. That's what we're left with.
Ken Bryce said Willie Lynch is strong.
And look, the kind of allegations of malfeasance that Rich was charged with is not that all dissimilar with the allegations against the Mount Vernon School Board that were recently made in the auditor's report. Same thing. You're supposed to follow rules and financial controls when it came to the expenditure of money. You didn't. There's all kind of funny shit going around, and now what did they lost? Like several $1,000,000. I mean, you know what? High-placed officials from the Mount Vernon School District were in this studio within the past year or so and assured us when they came and discussed the bond issue that they had made sure there were adequate financial controls, proper financial controls to make sure money wouldn't be misallocated. Apparently, if the State Controller DiNapoli's report is correct, those controls somehow or the other were circumvented. And now we have money that's been somehow lost track of. And it's similar problems. And it's really not going to change until we change. And I know that's not easy, everyone. I know y'all might be saying, Bob, we ain't seen you in city council in a minute. Where you been at? But it takes all of us to be engaged on a constant basis.
Yeah, because you get to a point where, and I just want to say this one thing. It got to a point where there are people that's in attendance, and they came there to see us perform.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Sam Rivers or Damon or you or, Denise Branch. And, they came we're not here to entertain y'all. You know what I'm saying? It's about all of y'all getting up and speak. Not y'all coming to see, let's see what Damon going to say about the police department this week. Let's see what Sam going to do. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Come on now. It ain't about that. And if that's why you was coming, then you need to stay your ass home. You know what I'm saying? So, because I've heard that several times.
Right.
You were supposed to say something. What the hell? I was supposed to say something. Your ass was sitting there too. Why you ain't saying nothing? So I just wanted to say that. We coming to the close of the show. Lorraine,
Yes.
lovely Lorraine. I know we talk about Mount Vernon a lot.
Joe, I went
Yonkers
out
is
there
more-
to get some popcorn because this was fascinating. I'm telling you.
Okay.
Just sitting here watching and listening, I ain't got nothing to say because I'm not from Mount Vernon.
Well, you want me to tell what? I'll sell you your ticket after the show's over. Don't worry, I got one left over for you.
So, Bob, any last words coming to the close of the show? More on what we need to do. Like, I know we criticizing maybe
Right.
something towards the solution or,
Listen, we need to get back in that city council chamber and demand that the city council exercises oversight responsibility and begin to more closely examine the internal affairs of the city, starting with an examination of the financial disclosure process. There are several officers in the executive branch of the government, I'm sure, who have years of financial disclosure forms that have yet to be submitted, and that would be a good place to start. We're not going to be able to effectively control and formulate city policy if we don't know how money is influencing who's serving in offices in office and the kind of policies that they're advocating. So that's what I would say.
Absolutely, Monty Whitaker said.
I'm going to
Awesome
say
show.
real quick, as one of the organizers for the Westchester Black Political Conference, what we talking about, and our meeting is coming up sometime this month. I got to look at the date, and we'll be sending out, and it will be back at Westpac in White Plains, our monthly meeting to discuss where we're going. But one thing that has been discussed was we're going to start putting out report cards on elected officials, and tracking what legislation that these elected officials sponsored or produced themselves, because we need to know what our elected officials are doing when it comes to the black communities. So this is not just about Mount Vernon. This is just it's a greater work to see what our elected officials are actually doing in their term, whether it's a 2-year term or a 4-year term, because we need to know, and we need to let the people know, what they're doing, so they can't bamboozle us on election day or in a primary to say that they did X, Y, and Z, when they actually didn't, or they was just there for 4 years twiddling their thumbs, because like we said before, what we see here is an outcome of an ineffective city council. Ineffective city council. There was there wasn't a check or a balance, right? And they were actually imbalanced in trying to deal with the mayor in violating the city charter. So I think this is a wake-up call to the people. You need to research who you are voting for. You need to research who are you voting for.
Yeah.
Especially when it checks and balances. Listen, make no mistake, we supported Richie, but when we saw what was going wrong, we all had to step away. We all had to step away.
Coming to the close of the show, I just want to end by shout out for the loss of a friend of mine, Craig Mack. I just see a post that Keith Murray just posted. He said all the greatness that came from Long Island, EPMD, De La, Rakim, Public Enemy, Freddie Fox, Busta Rhymes, Prodigy, Mobb Deep, K-Solo, Method Man, my group, Biz, and Craig Mack, and a lot of other groups. I just want to shout out that brother. That's lost another person that I know who will never see the size of. As I turned 52 earlier this year, he'll never see this side of 50. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
There's so many people. So I definitely want to shout him out. With that, you could be doing anything else, and you decide to ride with us, and we greatly appreciate that. This is Black Westchester Presents, the People Before Politics radio show, every Sunday 6 to 8 on InTheMixRadio.com. Thank you for everybody who tuned in. Those I named, those I didn't name, everybody. Like I said, thank you, Kevin. Bunch said, powerful show tonight, well done. Have a blessed weekend. Everybody who tuned in, look out for the new. Follow up with everything going on with the Richard Thomas case on blackwestchester.com. Until next week, peace.
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 22 million black victims of Americanism are waking up, and they're gaining a new political consciousness, becoming politically mature. And as they develop this political maturity, they're able to see the recent trends in these political elections. Any minority that has a block of votes that stick together is in a strategic position. Either way you go, that's who gets it. You're in a position to determine who go to the White House and who stay in the doghouse. You're the one who has that power. You and I have never seen democracy. All we've seen is hypocrisy.